I passed the futures evaluation in 3 days over 5 trades. 4 of those were winners and 1 break even. And in this video, I'm going to go over exactly how I did it. For this account, I used an Alpha Futures 50k zero plan account due to the great rules that they have on both evaluations and their qualified accounts. So I'll put the rules for that up on the screen now. And if this looks like a firm you'd be interested in trading with, lucky for you, I am currently partnered with Alpha Futures and doing a giveaway where I'm giving away 2 free 50k evaluations. And all you need to do to enter is subscribe to my YouTube and join the Discord, link in description. Okay, so before we get into the trades that I took, I want to just quickly go over the model that I used to actually take all these trades and then pass the evaluation. So as you can see on the screen, we've got the key concepts. So a clear draw on liquidity, fair value gaps, inversion fair value gaps, alongside displacement and liquidity sweeps. These are basically the 5 things that I used to build the model that actually has the stats to be able to pass accounts in the way that I just did. Okay, so I've drawn up a quick example of a trade that I would take. So as you can see, we've got a super clear draw on liquidity up here. We are clearly trending bullish up towards this draw on liquidity. And then we've left a 5 or a 15-minute bullish fair value gap that we've come down, tapped into, had a little internal liquidity sweep, as you can see here with this line, and then had a 1, 2, or 3-minute inversion fair value gap form with displacement to give us our entry. Usually this model gives anywhere between 1 and 2R, and I wouldn't take anything less than 1R. Unless it's a super certain situation, which I'll show you at the end of the video. But that's a quick run through the model, and it really is as simple as that. There's no need to make it any more complicated than this. If being able to trade like this is something that you want to be able to achieve, then I do actually have a free trading community on Discord. So I'll leave the link to that in the description. And if that's something that interests you, then be sure to join. I'm active in there as much as I can be. I'm more active in there than I am anywhere else. So if you want to be able to message me, ask questions, or just engage with the community where we're constantly trying to help each other grow, then make sure to join that. Link will be in the description. I just want to quickly go through the risk plan that I used to pass this evaluation. And as you can see, it's quite an aggressive approach, as the maximum drawdown is $2,000 and I'm risking $1,000 a trade, which is half the max drawdown. But that means to pass the account, I only need 3R. So if I'm catching a trade of say 1.5R, I only need 2 full wins to pass this account. And I'm going to go through some of the stats that I got in backtesting to be able to give me the confidence with approaching evals like this. But I want you guys to kind of understand that evaluations aren't meant to be sat on for months, because obviously you get taught the whole you need to preserve capital, which is true. And when you're funded, like, preserving capital is the most important thing because you don't want to blow that account. But when you're in the evaluation, you have no capital to preserve. Like, that capital isn't yours. You're literally just trying to pass the evaluation. And when it comes to futures, the rules to pass are so much easier. 3R, if you're risking $1,000 to pass the account, is insignificant. Compared to if you was risking $1,000 on a 50k Forex account, you're going to need to be making what, like 7.5R, which is obviously a huge difference. And the Forex accounts are way more expensive. Like, you're looking at spending $300 for a 50k Forex account, whereas on, say, Alpha Futures, it's like $80. $80 if you use Concur. So make sure you do that. But yeah, so don't spend your whole life on an evaluation. I got this one done in 3 days, and I plan on doing the other ones as quick as possible as well. Try and get max allocation with Alpha. But yeah, that's enough on the risk. Let's get into why I knew I could risk that much, and then we'll actually go through the serious trades that I took on live. Okay, so in order to know if you can actually trade aggressively on evaluations, you need to work out your theoretical pass rate in backtesting. So I haven't seen anyone do this before, but it was kind of something that I just thought of when I was backtesting. And you basically want to take a decent sample size of your backtested trades, so say 50 to 100 trades, and then work out how many times you make 3R in a row versus how many times you lose 2R in a row. So basically, how many times would you pass an account versus lose an account in backtesting? So let's say you make 3R in a row 50 times and lose 2R in a row 20 times. So 50 out of 70 times that you either won or lost, your pass rate would be 71% if they were real accounts. So as long as you can convert your backtesting stats to the live markets, then it should take you no more than 2 attempts to pass an evaluation. So say if you was going to be buying 2 Alpha Zero accounts, which have 0 activation fee, then you're paying $80 per account. You know it should cost you no more than $160 to pass one of the accounts. So you could be funded within $160 of spending. And then as long as you actually know how to trade, which by this point you've proved over that back testing that you should be able to get a payout, you'll make that money back 10x just off that one account alone, at least. So this is a super important thing to do because one, it's just back testing. You're going to be able to get the practice in to make sure you're getting better at the actual model. But then it also is just such a big confidence booster knowing that clearly I know how to trade. So if I can't do it in under 2 attempts, then it's likely just me holding myself back. So I'm going to end up making a video on how to convert your backtesting stats to the live markets because it all is just psychological. But yeah, I think this backtesting to work out your pass rate is a super useful thing that you guys should all be doing. All right, so trade breakdowns. I'm going to start with Tuesday, the 4th of November. This was the first day that I traded on this account. And I ended up taking 2 trades on this day. One of them was a win and one was a break even. So start on the 4 hour. We had this bearish fair value gap. So this is the 6 a.m. Candle, which obviously is part of 9:30. And then this is the 10 a.m. candle. Had this fair value gap here as an original target and this one up here as a slightly higher target. Drop into the 1 hour was, this is the 9 o'clock candle. My target at this point, we'll go to 50 minutes, so you can actually see where we were at 9:30. At this point, I am targeting up into this fair value gap. So at first, I wanted to look for a long towards these highs, but didn't end up getting that. So ended up having to wait until the next candle opened. Let me remove this so you can see the wicks. Ended up waiting until this candle opened to try and ride it through and just push up into this fair value gap, kind of like the equilibrium point. This was like the next fair value gap that we could target into. So if I drop into a 5 minute, as you can see, we start forming a position here. So we had these highs up here that we're still targeting. We just had this super clear displacement candle. So we're like, the draw on liquidity of this is super obvious. And we also still have this, which could get ran. So then if I drop into a 1 minute, on the 1 minute, as you can see, we kind of edge these highs. And it looks to me like we're generating a little bit more liquidity up there. And so we drop down into this 1 minute bullish fair value gap just here. And then strong displacement out of it. As soon as we get that candle closure, I entered on this candle. Normally, I would break even at these internal highs. But as you can see, that would have stopped us out at break even. So I wanted to wait for us to actually displace through it. And then as soon as we displaced through this, as you can see on this candle, we'd also reached these highs. So I just moved my stop straight to break even, waited to target. I don't actually know what the main target there was, to be honest. I think I just wanted to get like a decent R. Probably could have held this out a little bit longer, but nonetheless, it was a really clean trade. So yeah, that was it. Literally 3 minutes in and out, super fast, 1.1 R. Can't complain with that. Yeah, that was super simple. All right, this next trade, which was at about 10:15, was not as good of a position in my opinion. The actual idea behind it was good, but my TP placement was a bit washed. I don't really know what I was doing on this day with my TP placement, if I'm quite honest. But anyway, so this was a 5 minute fair value gap over here, and we'd come up, form this high, drop back down, and then started clearly trending higher again. And if we zoom in here, we formed this 1 minute fair value gap. This was, so this is a 1 minute fair value gap that we inversed, and we formed this 1 minute fair value gap. We tap into it and then started displacing away, ended up taking the position off of this displacement on this candle here, and then just started letting it run and then ride out all the way, targeting 1 point. I don't actually know exactly where my TP was, but it was targeting higher than where we actually reached to. So then, yeah, as you can see, it ended up coming back and stopping me out of break even. So kind of an error on my half. This definitely could have been a significantly better trade. But it's just something to learn from, I suppose. Ended up getting break even anyway, so no loss on my half. But yeah, that wraps up the 4th, which was Tuesday. So 1 win and a break even. Decent way to start the evaluation. So let's jump into Wednesday. All right, once again, 2 trades on Wednesday, a break even and a win. So this was the first position here, was this, targeting these highs. And I thought it was a good move of break even to break even after we pushed through this high, which, as you can see, ended up coming down, stopping me out of break even, and then pushing upwards towards these highs, which was the original target, which is a little bit frustrating. But there was a second entry offered here, which was arguably even better than the first one. And for some reason, I didn't take it, which is obviously a big error on my half. This is what I mean. Like, it was such a good week. I made $3,000 on the Eval this week. Obviously, passed it from literally just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But it could have been so much better. So it kind of just goes to show there's always more. You can always get better. But anyway, yeah, this was the trade I ended up taking. Got stopped out of break even. This setup occurred, missed that one. And then a little bit later on, ended up taking this one, which I thought was pretty clean because we had this target here. This is just a high time frame target to the left of us. And we'd come down into this 15-minute fair value gap. There's a 15-minute here. And started displacing away, formed this 1 minute, formed a 1 minute breakaway, 1 minute fair value gap, and then dropped down into it. And I entered mid-candle on this one, which isn't something that I usually do, but all I wanted to see was us drop into this fair value gap and start respecting it straight away, which as soon as we did, entered with my stop slightly below the breakaway gap and take profit just this intermediate term high, which ended up being a brilliant trade, super quick. I made $1,260 on this trade, which is obviously very beautiful. And yeah, that was it for Wednesday. Super simple day. Quite gutted that I missed out on this move because that would have been an absolute belter, but it's gone now. Can learn from it. Yeah, that was Wednesday. So let's move on to Thursday, which was the final day. All right, so Thursday was a very nice day. This was market open. If market wants to work, straight out of market open, we just plummeted. You could have had a nice PDI entry here for longs, break even here, which you would have got stopped out of break even at. So that doesn't really matter, but I didn't end up taking that. This was a beautiful position that I once again didn't take, which I should have. Would have been this inversion. Stops there. And then I don't actually know where the target is on the higher time frame. It's down here. This is a target here, which is a beautiful target in my opinion. Like you maybe not hold the whole way through it, but you definitely could have if you wanted to. But yeah, that was a really nice trade. I'm quite gutted that I didn't take that. But anyway, a little bit further into the session, by this point we plummeted. And we made this super relative equal low with that low that we've got marked out there. And had this 5 minute. I'm not going to go on a 5 minute and then try to find this again. But just imagine that this is the 5 minute, bearish. We come up into it, fail to displace, come up one more time, get that internal liquidity sweep, and then form this inversion. So it's all really piecing along nicely. Like if we go back over to here, obviously it's flipped, but it was drawn liquidity, check. 5 minute or 15 minute fair value gap, check. Internal liquidity sweep, check. And then we had the 1 minute inversion, check. Like literally the most perfect trade. I ended up, this was the one where I said I wouldn't take a negative R except for this situation. because I only needed 0.6R to pass the account. So I literally just took that as a position, which if you took that normally, that is like, that's stupid. Like that is a stupid trade. You'd break even when I took profits and then let it run, and then probably would have got stopped out of break even. But where I only needed the $600, there was no point me holding for the full trade, because I just, like, that's just stupid. I needed the account passed. So yeah, that was a super quick trade, literally 2 minutes there, just pretty much flew straight to draw. And then a little bit afterwards, I wasn't on the charts at this point because obviously the evaluation had been passed, so there was no need for me to keep trading because I didn't have the credentials for the funded at this point. And yeah, like, that is even better because there's another fair value gap up here that we tapped into, and then as we tap into it, we form this fair value gap, this bearish to inverse, tap into it, start displacing away again. Your entry would literally be here with stops there. Like, that would have been huge. I would never hold a position out for that long, I don't think. And if I did, I'd be very aggressively trailing. But even just like taking profits anywhere in this range, like, that would have been a really nice position. But obviously didn't need it at that point because the account was already passed. But yeah, those are the 5 trades that I took. I think all of them were like A/A plus setups. There was definitely some better things I could have done to make more profit on the week. But I'm glad I made those mistakes this week when it was on Eval rather than the next few weeks to come when it's on funded. So yeah, a lot to learn from that week. I've definitely spent my fair share of time looking through the trades to be able to learn from them and make sure I can cook up on this funded. But yeah, that's basically it for the actual trade breakdown. So there are individual trade breakdowns on the YouTube already that I've been posting day by day. So if you want a little bit more detail on some of these positions, then go and check those out. They'll be literally like my most recent 4 videos on the channel, I think. But yeah, that's it for the trade breakdowns. Right, that is it for the video, guys. I hope you found that useful. That was how I passed my Alpha Futures Zero Plan 50k evaluation in 3 days this week. Started Tuesday, was finished by early Thursday session. And yeah, I hope you gained something from that. Drop a comment if there's anything else you wanted to see. I do plan on releasing kind of like a mini boot camp called the Futures Foundation series, where I'm going to be doing 8 to 10 videos, just really breaking down the basics all the way up until starting to be able to be ready for funded. I'm posting all that to YouTube over the coming months, and obviously also the trade recaps. I'll be posting those every day that I take a trade. There'll be a trade recap. Yeah, drop a comment if that's something you want to see. And in the meantime, whilst none of that's uploaded, I will be leaving the link to the Discord in the description because I'm active in there, trying to help out as many of you guys as possible, build a good trading community down there. So yeah, that's it for the video. I hope it was useful, and I will see you guys in the next one.